Hello, sports fans. We are ready for NFL picks for week number 14 in the league where they play. For pay! And let's get right to it. Coming off yet another monster week of picking games. I am on absolute fire. The last 2 months I could do no wrong. I hope you guys are riding with me. Let's keep it rolling. Let's get to week 14, pick number 1, and let's go to the Steel City in Pittsburgh, and we have a lot to talk about here. Where the Pittsburgh Steelers are home, -7 against the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore up to 7-5, beat Detroit. Baltimore's playing a lot better. They are in the hunt for that last playoff spot. Baltimore always seems to find a way to get into the action. Baltimore playing better. Pittsburgh up to 10-2, came from behind and beat Cincinnati. They're fighting with New England for top seed in the AFC. New England and Pittsburgh will play in week 15. That will determine a lot as far as the AFC seedings. But as far as last night's game, listen. First of all, Ryan Shazier. That looked like it was going to be a very, very serious injury last night. As of this morning, they're saying probable spinal cord contusion. He may leave the hospital today. Has feelings in his legs. That's really good news. So we're cautiously optimistic that Shazier will make a full recovery. And this is not about football and him getting back on the field and playing in a couple weeks. And I know Maddox for the Steelers had this injury a few years ago and only missed one game. It's not about that. It's about Ryan Shazier getting up, walking, and being completely healthy and making a full recovery. That's what I'm concerned about. So it looks pretty good right now because last night it did not look good at all. And by the way, some of the guys on ESPN have to stop playing doctor. Steve Young is not a doctor. He was a great quarterback. He's a Hall of Famer. He's an NFL analyst. He has to stop playing doctor. You listened to Steve Young last night, you thought he was an MD. I mean, Steve Young, pipe down. You're not a doctor, okay? Stop trying to diagnose injuries. That's a no-no when you're on TV. But Ryan Shazier looks pretty good right now. As far as the other shenanigans in the game, absolutely deplorable, despicable football by both teams. And I don't want to hear it was Pittsburgh or just Cincinnati. It was both teams. Both teams have a history of this against each other. I don't know what the reason is. I don't know if it's because Cincinnati has had a lot of good teams and they always seem to lose to Pittsburgh, or Pittsburgh has 6 Super Bowls and Cincinnati has none, or Cincinnati can't get over the hump. But Roethlisberger after the game, this is AFC North football. No, it's not. No, it's not. Pittsburgh and Baltimore don't play this way. Pittsburgh and Cleveland don't play this way. Cleveland and Cincinnati don't play this way. You know, Cincinnati and Baltimore don't play this way. This is Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. They have a history of this. This goes back years now. And it is ugly, despicable, dirty football. And that's what it is on both sides. We know what happened with Burfict, with Antonio Brown when he hit him in the head and all that. Well, what happened again last night? Brown got hit in the head. And what about Schuster for the Steelers? After Shazier is carted off with a serious injury, Schuster goes helmet to helmet on Burfict, knocks Burfict down. As Burfict is laid out, Schuster's over him, posing, taunting him. I mean, what a terrible, despicable play by Schuster. Embarrassing football, and Schuster's a good player. He's been a good rookie. From what I hear, he's a good kid. That was a deplorable act. And then the Bengals hit Brown in the head again. Both sides deplorable, inexcusable. They could fine and suspend all those players for a game as far as I'm concerned. It has to stop between these two teams. After Shazier went off with a serious injury, these teams are getting into these shenanigans again. Then you got Roethlisberger saying this is AFC North football. No, it's not. Then you got Antonio Brown in the post-game press conference when they're talking about Burfict, saying it's calmer in the background. I mean, terrible. You're making yourself look terrible. Both sides deplorable. Both teams look deplorable. All the players look deplorable. They're making their organizations look bad. It's terrible, awful football, and give McDonough and Gruden credit. They pointed it out last night, and that's why they're two of the best announcers on TV. They pointed it out. It was embarrassing football. That game was embarrassing last night. What about all the flags on both sides? Cincinnati had like 200 yards in penalties. And I know the refs did a bad job with some of the calls. The steal, a run back wasn't a penalty. There was a penalty on Cincinnati for holding that was awful. The refs were bad on both sides. But both teams got to take responsibility for their actions. Deplorable. I went to bed last night sick over that game. First of all, you're worried about Shazier. That was awful to watch. That was eerie. And then you got to see all this other stuff. And sure enough, it didn't stop the celebrations, though. The Steelers scored a touchdown. And there they are, after all this, doing some ridiculous celebration where they're doing a WWE where one of the Steelers is pinning one guy and a third Steeler is counting 1, 2, 3. Still have time for all that stuff, though. Awful, deplorable. That was embarrassing last night for the NFL. Both teams got to get straightened out. That was really embarrassing by both squads. And we've seen this a number of times from both the Steelers and the Bengals. I am not picking sides. They're both responsible. Anyway, as far as this game, listen, you know these games are always close. There's always a lot of line. It's hard-hitting. This game will be clean, hard-hitting football, unlike last night's ridiculousness. I'm going to move the line to 1 and take Pittsburgh. I think at home they will eke it out. I know Baltimore's been playing better, but the Steelers really handled Baltimore this year in Baltimore. I think the Steelers will eke it out, and once again, we hope Ryan Shazier makes a full recovery. That is pick number 1. Pick number 2, let's go out to Los Angeles where the LA Rams are -2.5 against the Philadelphia Eagles. Rams up to 9-3, beat Arizona. What a season the Rams are having. No one thought they'd be 9-3 this year. Philadelphia down to 10-2. They lost to Seattle. Listen, Philadelphia was due for a loss. They took one here. I did take Seattle, and they really laid it on Philadelphia. Despite having guys out in the secondary, Seattle really shut down Philadelphia, caused a couple of turnovers that really swung the game. And Philadelphia, by the way, staying out west all week. I don't know about that. Teams usually can't wait to get back home. I mean, but Philadelphia, I know it's a long trip. They were just out west of Seattle. Now they're going to stay in Southern California all week. But that's a long time to stay away from home. You know, you're going to train out in Southern California. I don't know. I might have came home if I was the coach and then take that charter flight back. I mean, these charter flights are not like standing in line like you're a regular, person. These charter flights are nice and cushy. You don't have to stand in line or anything. So to me, I would have taken the charter back and forth. Philly's going to stay out there all week. I don't know about that. As far as the game, it's a very tough game. It's almost impossible to pick straight up. I'm going to move the line to 8.5. Just on general principle, I'm going to think the Eagles are going to be angry and they're going to play better than last week. To me, that's going to make it a close game. So I'll take Eagles plus 8.5. It's a must-watch game. That's pick number 2. Pick number 3. Let's go to the Meadowlands in New Jersey. Not too far from here with the Dallas Cowboys on -5 against the New York Giants. Dallas up to 6-6. They laid it on Washington, finally played well. Dallas still alive in the playoffs, but they really need to win out. New York Giants down to 2-10, lost to the Raiders. What's going on with the Giants? What was that ridiculousness with Eli Manning? He's got that long streak. They sit him out. They put Geno Smith at quarterback. Eli Manning looked devastated that he ended his streak there, but he handled it okay. Now they're going back to Eli Manning. They fire the coach. They fire the GM. What is going on with the Giants this year? You talk about just a lost cause. The Giants, listen, if you're a Giant fan, hope they lose the rest of their games, get like the number 2 pick, get a great draft pick, maybe get a new quarterback, maybe go in a different direction, get a new coach, GM, and start this whole thing over with. This has been a lost cause from early in the season when they got hit with all sorts of injuries. The Giant coach was lost all year. This Eli situation was handled very poorly. Just an awful job by the Giants this year. I'm going to go Dallas money line here. I mean, I can't take the Giants. They've won 2 games this year. Dallas look better. They have more time to prepare. They already beat the Giants once. I'm going to take Dallas money line. That's pick number 3. Pick number 4. Back out to Los Angeles we go with the LA Chargers, a -6 against the Washington Redskins. Washington down to 5-7. Just like I mentioned, they lost to Dallas. Boy, I'll tell you, Washington. I know they've been hit hard with injuries. They do have talent, but every time I watch Washington, Jay Gruden has a perplexed look on his face, Cousins is throwing interceptions, and they just look like a mess, Washington, all the time. They're just a messy, it just doesn't gel with them. And I don't know about Jay Gruden as a coach. Now, John Gruden was a great coach. He was a great football coach. Jay Gruden, he always looks like he has like a lost face on the sidelines. He just looks like he's lost in space over there. And then the turnovers, it was just a messy game for Washington. LA Chargers, how about them? They're up to 6-6, beat Cleveland. Chargers, for years, were an offensive team that would find ways to lose. Now they're a defensive team. They're starting to find ways to win the Chargers. And believe it or not, with the Kansas City falling apart, Kansas City, the Chargers, and Oakland are in a three-way tie at 6-6. Do you believe that? Did you ever think the Chargers would get back to first place after the way they started and the way the Chiefs started? Unbelievable. I got to like the Chargers here in a teaser or a money line. You got to think the Chargers are going to win at home. You got to think Washington is going to find a way to lose. I mean, I have to like the Chargers. I know you still probably don't trust them, but they've been winning. They've been hot. Washington, their season is over. Got to like the Chargers. That's pick number 4. Pick number 5. Let's go down to Carolina. Another nice game here with the Minnesota Vikings, a -3 against the Carolina Panthers. Carolina down to 8-4, lost to New Orleans. Carolina falls to second place. How about the Vikings? And I picked the Vikings last week. Up to 10-2, and with the Eagle loss, best record in the NFC. Yes, let me say it again. The Vikings have the best record in the NFC, despite all the injuries, despite the problems at the beginning of the year. They are on absolute fire. Shut down Atlanta in Atlanta's building. The Minnesota defense can do no wrong. Keenum is playing well, but the Minnesota defense is to die for. They are shutting teams down, and that Atlanta-Minnesota game was old school football, 14-9. That was a real slug-it-out game. Minnesota comes on top. That's the way Minnesota wants to play. They want to win on defense. They want to be conservative on offense. But Minnesota doing a tremendous job this year. I never thought they'd be 10-2. Best record in the NFC. We never saw this coming. And I know they got off to a hot start last year and they fell apart, but this is really a surprise. So Minnesota doing a great job. This is a very tough game. I'm going to move the line to 9 and take Carolina. I'll get the 9. I'll get the home field. It's a monster game for Carolina. Now listen, I don't feel all that confident about the way Minnesota is playing. And Minnesota really handled Carolina last year in Carolina. So I don't feel all that confident. But if I have to play the game, I'll take Carolina +9, thinking this is a close game either way. I mean, I think Minnesota's a little better right now, but I'll take the 9 in the home field. I won't be playing a big money on this game, but this is another must-watch game, a tremendous game. Both teams could make the playoffs. Minnesota's definitely going to make the playoffs. Carolina's in good position as well. Pick number 6. Let's go down to Jacksonville. Another good game. A lot of good games this weekend. The Jacksonville Jaguars at home, -3 against the Seattle Seahawks. Jacksonville up to 8-4, beat Indianapolis. Bortles played well. I was on Bortles' case. He did respond. He did play well. Seattle up to 8-4, had a very nice home win against the Eagles. That was a very impressive win against an Eagle team that could do no wrong for like 2 months. Very impressive win by Seattle. This is going to be an old-fashioned slobber knocker type game. This has like 17-16 written all over it. There's going to be a lot of hard hitting, a lot of good tackling, points at a premium. This is going to be good old-fashioned defensive football. I'm going to move the line to 9 and take Seattle, thinking the game's going to be close. Like I said, I could see it being 17-16. I'll take the 9 and the Hawks. Should be a real good defensive gem down there in Jacksonville. That's pick number 6. Pick number 7, let's go to the jungle in Cincinnati with the Cincinnati Bengals on -7 against the Chicago Bears. Cincinnati, like I talked about, down to 5-7 after they blew the huge lead to Pittsburgh. What else is new with the Bengals? They just always find a way to lose to the Steelers. How long is Marvin Lewis going to be the coach of this team? How long is Dalton going to be the quarterback? I would go in a different direction with both of them. It's just not happening for the Bengals, but the Bengals front office has loyalty to these guys, which, listen, I can't say that's a bad thing, but sometimes you need a different voice in the room. Sometimes change is good. I think change would be good for the Bengals. Chicago, they're down to 3-9, lost to San Francisco. I had San Francisco. I had a feeling they were going to hang in the game, if not win it. The Bears, I mean, again, they're starting a rookie quarterback. You can't expect too much from them. I'm going to move the line down to 1 and take Cincinnati, just thinking Cincinnati has more talent right now. So I'll take the Bengals. That's pick number 7. Pick number 8. Huge game here in the AFC West, and I'll tell you, a lot of good games here. Kansas City at home, -4 against Oakland. Oakland up to 6-6, beat the New York Giants. We'll see about Oakland if they get their receivers back this week. I believe Crabtree will be off suspension this week, so he will play. We'll see about the other receiver. He has a concussion. I'd like to see Oakland at full strength for this game. Oakland already beat Kansas City once. That was that crazy game at the end where all those penalties took place. Kansas City down to 6-6, lost to the New York Jets. What in the world is going on with the Chiefs? What is going on with the Chiefs? They were on fire at the beginning of the year. They've fallen to pieces. I mean, one week they lose 12-9. The next week they lose a shootout to the Jets 38, 35 or whatever the score was. It was in the 30s. Every week the Chiefs are finding a different way to lose. Low-scoring games, high-scoring games, no discipline. Players picking up the flag and throwing it in the stands. Andy Reid has lost total control of his team. I mean, I never saw this coming. Listen, Andy Reid, we know about his history. He's never won a Super Bowl, can't win the big one, can't get over the hump for the big one, always gets his teams to the playoffs, always has a great regular season. Thought the same thing here with the Chiefs. You thought they were going to have a big-time regular season. They were on their way. They were cruising in this division. They've fallen to pieces. I don't know if they're going to even make the playoffs. Right now, to me, the Chargers look like they're better than the Chiefs. And I'm not even counting Oakland. I mean, the Chargers look better to me. So the Chiefs have fallen completely apart. And here they are again, 4-point favorite. Every week the Chiefs are a favorite despite them losing every week. If Oakland's healthy and all their receivers play, I'm moving the line to 10 and saying this is a close game. If Oakland's a little banged up and one of their receivers doesn't play, I may throw the game out completely. Can't trust the Chiefs right now. So I would play Oakland plus 10 if they're completely healthy. So keep an eye on the injury report as you go forward. That's pick number 8. Pick number 9. Let's go down to Miami where the New England Patriots are -11 against the Miami Dolphins. Miami up to 5-7, laid it on Denver. How bad is Denver? Oh my goodness, what an atrocity Denver is this year. New England up to 10-2, beat Buffalo. What else is new? What in the world is Gronkowski doing? He's suspended this week. He lost his mind. I mean, New England's up 20 points. Gronkowski's, frustrated he didn't get a penalty called on the defensive back. So what does he do? He hits the guy when the guy's down in the head. I mean, Gronkowski, that's awful, deplorable football. I just talked about Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, and here we got Gronkowski doing it. So Gronkowski will sit, and deservedly so. I mean, that's totally out of line. He didn't need to do that. Not to mention, you're up 20 points in the fourth quarter. What are you thinking? All right, so Buffalo got away with a holding call. Get over it. I mean, you got to slam the guy when he's down? I mean, give me a break. Terrible football. You got to like New England here. I'll move the line to 5, take the Patriots. I mean, despite the Dolphins winning last week, you can't like them in this spot. New England's on an absolute roll. I mean, again, New England's 10-2. Again, they're 10-2. It's unbelievable the job they do every year. And Brady is ageless. I mean, continues to play at a high level. How about the defense in New England? Now they don't give up any points after giving up like 30 points a game at the beginning of the year. I'll take New England -5 and a teaser. That's pick number 9. Pick number 10, let's go out to the desert in Arizona with the Tennessee Titans are -3 against the Arizona Cardinals. Tennessee up to 8-4, hung on to beat Houston. That's what Tennessee's been doing, especially lately. They're finding ways to win close games. That's a good sign. I'd like to see them blow out some of these teams they're better than, but they are finding ways to win. They are in first place. They do have a big game with Jacksonville at the end of the year. They've already beat Jacksonville, so Tennessee's doing a nice job pulling these games out. Arizona, they're down to 5-7, lost to the Rams. This is a strange game. If I had to pick the game straight up, I would take Tennessee. If you tell me about points, either way, the 3 does nothing for me. Teaser, I'd probably go Arizona +9. It's a strange game because Tennessee's been winning a lot of close games. So I would play it probably Tennessee money line or Arizona +9 in a teaser. You can go a couple different ways there. Again, not a game I would play a lot of money on. That's pick number 10. Pick number 11, New York Jets -1 against Denver. I mean, give the Jets credit. They've been fighting all year, beat Kansas City. Denver has fallen completely apart. I don't love this game, but if I had to pick it, I'd take the Jets just because the Jets are battling and Denver has showed me nothing. They look like they have laid down like a dog. They have done nothing for weeks, Denver. They are an absolute mess. They can't get anything done offensively. The defense is not what it used to be. If I had to pick the game, I'd take the Jets, although I don't love the game. But I would take the Jets if I had to. That's pick number 11. And pick number 12, The Thursday night game, Atlanta at home -1 against New Orleans. I'm sorry, New Orleans has become a favorite in this game. New Orleans -1 against Atlanta in Atlanta. New Orleans beat Carolina. They're up to 9-3. They're in first place, doing a great job. Atlanta down to 7-5, lost to Minnesota. This is an absolutely huge game for Atlanta. They can't afford to lose this one. This should not be a Thursday night game. This should be a Sunday night or Monday night game. Can't stand that this is on a Thursday night. If I had to play it, and I don't usually bet Thursday night football, I'd move the line to 7 and take Atlanta. I get the home field and the 7 points, and I think the game's going to be close. This is a big rivalry, and Atlanta needs this game the worst way. Again, I usually don't bet Thursday night football, but if I had to, I'd take Atlanta in a teaser. 4 games I'm going to throw out. Tampa Bay, Detroit's an absolute throwout. Detroit falling apart. We know about Tampa Bay. Buffalo, Indianapolis is a throwout. Both teams now with the quarterback problems. Taylor out for Buffalo. Cleveland, Green Bay is an absolute throwout. We'll see about Rodgers. He may come back in a couple weeks. Green Bay, I guess, has an outside shot at the playoffs, so we'll see about that, but that's a throwout game. And Houston, San Francisco is an absolute throwout. You can't pick those games. Just impossible. Too much stuff going on. Too many injuries. Just those games are messy. So that's how I would play it this week in the NFL. I'm probably not going to bet huge money this week. I've been on absolute fire. But this week is kind of a strange game. I threw out 4 games, a couple games I don't love. It's a strange week. There's a lot of tough games, a lot of interesting games. It's a tough week. It's a game I will probably bet light. But like I said, I've been on absolute fire for 2 months. Can do no wrong. Having another monster season. I hope you guys are as well. As far as the college football, no surprise what the Final Four was to me anyway. I said it was going to go down like this. Clemson will play Alabama in the one semifinal game. Remember, those 2 teams have played in the last 2 national championship games. They've split 1-1. And Georgia will play Oklahoma in the other semifinal game. Those are 2 very good matchups. I had a feeling it was going to go down this way. I had a feeling Alabama was going to stay ahead of Ohio State. Ohio State had that awful loss to Iowa. I didn't think the committee was going to reward them for that. So I'm not surprised Alabama made it. I also am not surprised by the teams that won their title games. Not surprised at all that Clemson won or Oklahoma won or Ohio State beat Wisconsin. Even Georgia beating Auburn wasn't that much of a shock to me. Auburn was banged up at the running back position. But you have a really nice Final Four here. There's some really bad bowl games. So I'll get to that next week. You should see some of these bowl matchups. They are absolutely ridiculous. The Final Four is good. Some of the bigger bowl matchups are very good, but you get to some of those lower bowl matchups, they are absolutely deplorable. Anyway, you got Army-Navy this week. That is a very good traditional game. If you can ever get to that game, definitely get to it. The pageantry is just unbelievable between Army and Navy, so that should be good stuff as well. So there you go. You guys are all caught up. You guys are all set. Like I said, coming off another monster week. We'll try and keep it rolling. Do you believe we're in week 14 already? Where is the NFL season going? I mean, it's unbelievable how quick it's gone. I mean, we are just flying through the NFL season. We're going to be in the playoffs soon. This year, to me, has flown right by. I'm on a roll. I hope you guys are making money. Thanks, as always, for the support. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. Pick a lot of winners. Make a lot of money. I'll talk to you guys next Tuesday. Take care.